you can get really comfortable staying in your chaos or in a system when you don't see someone in person. You can like hide in your own chaos or your own discord because you're not seen in your fullness because it's so easy to hide behind a screen.
Yes.
Right? Like here you can see this part of me, but not all of me. So I feel like there's an overuse of technology in a collective way to actually disconnect in an authentic, vulnerable way. And it makes this perception of perfectionism or something to attain, especially in a spiritual aspect, that you're not good enough because you aren't appearing this way, where if you were to see the whole view of someone, you might see more behind this
Yeah.
mask of technology.
Well, and that's a really huge and good point. So one thing is, and I'm just may restating what I heard or probably adding my how I received it and where it pinged with me, is that illusion that we have to be perfect, right? So we can set up the small little space, do up, and oh, look, I've got it all together, which is not really owning or working through your stuff and being okay and not having to be perfect as a society or what you perceive society says you need to be heard or seen or valued. The other aspect in that is then, okay, you're dividing yourself and you're putting out only this portion. So is that authentically coming out in the true of who you are and what you're trying to do? And then, being vulnerable and being open and being seen. So is it it could be a way to remain safe, right? I'm going to keep this part for me, and some boundaries are very good and healthy. Other boundaries are not, and we put them up and we segregate ourselves. And then saying, oh, we're only valued for this portion. We're only valued if we can be seen perfect in this, and I'm only giving you this part. And then you're really not doing that inner work. You're really not then, I hear the word ascending, right? To being your authentic and your highest self and coming from that heart. The other thing on that is, yeah, I have my pile of fabric there that I don't really think you need to be distracted by. So I'm going to hone in on just this portion of it so you don't see that and aren't distracted. And I'm not thinking, oh, look, that's what I was looking for earlier today and couldn't find it. So then not a distraction for me as well. So I think, kind of that double-edged sword that you should look at and where you are landing on that. Why are you choosing to limit the view with technology and work with filters and all the stuff to look? And where is that coming from? Is that coming really from a centered point, or is that coming from something outside you? And then you are then continuing that state of lack, of not being valued, of non-abundance, of non-worthiness, all those things that are triggers for a lot of people, a lot of things that we are all working on to proceed. So good point. I like that. And it kind of also
Yeah.
comes back to that, what we were talking about the other day of to have this technology, what are we putting others through? And it's okay because we can't see it. It's not our neighbor. It's not our children. It's not us. So we can then distance ourselves from that process and then not giving honor to those who are sacrificing. So we have these conveniences where we can then make ourselves look better. So I think that's a huge look into that. Where do you find that balance? And not to beat yourself up on it, but what are you doing to be as authentic and caring and in service? That's not the word I want, but that you care about the world, you care about neighbors, you care about family, and we are all one in how that we broach that. So again, where is that balance to where, yes, technology is an aid, but then it's not causing suffering.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Well, if you've not tuned into us before, my mom and I come on this channel and we bring alternative perspectives like the one I'm showing you today that happened by divine chance when I felt called to sit on this log in my only office space currently, which is a beautiful forest that I'm grateful for, and saw the view that it provided me because so rarely do I look up. I look down at where I'm going to make sure I'm safe in the forest. I look to my littles because I'm full-time mama, and I look to others because I love to be of service. And I look inward because that's just what I love to do. Yet, this was an invitation for an alternative perspective for me to take in the beauty of looking upward, which never fails to jumpstart our conversations where we again look at alternative viewpoints. What is here to be brought to our awareness? So, my mom and I are both channels, and it just comes through us spontaneously and within our own life and through art and voice and song and dance and more. And this is where we're starting today. So, welcome. If you've not been here before, welcome back if you have. Definitely subscribe if any of this resonates. We jump on here when we feel called to bring forth a collective perspective, right? Which is what I refer to as the totality of duality, where there can be opposing truths that when you look at them together and you can find the and, we can start to find harmony and unity inside and out, where this is exactly what Marsha was pointing to when talking about both sides of the sword or the two sides of the coin, yet it's a coin. But can you see both perspectives and not see them as one versus the other, but see them all coexisting? I can relate to those sides and see them happening in me simultaneously. And when I see them, it's an opportunity for me to challenge any that don't serve me or the whole because I do have a heart for humanity, right? I don't want my needs, my excessive needs for technology to result in oppression of others to make sure that we have the materials to make these phones that keep us connected. It's right use of power. It's right use of resources. And then we love to see these pieces, these parts that we play when things do come into our awareness, not in a fear-driven way, but in a this is happening and this is here for you to look at. What part do you play and can you play in making a shift if it doesn't align for you? If it hurts your heart, can you look directly at that as a truth for someone, even if it's not a truth for you, and then challenge yourself to see how you play a part. For example, the discussion of I can stay behind this piece of technology and I can make my environment look super inviting and calm and zen, yet you don't see my chaos behind me. And that is true. To be a channel, sometimes that is great to have this space that doesn't distract me. Yet I also saw where I would use that as a reason to not show you this part of me, the part of me that does channel, the part of me that brings through consciousness in unique ways that I call my mother tongue as a divine mother bringing in tongues. Um, so I could challenge that part of me of say, you're not actually connecting with your most vulnerable, intimate self, and it's easier for you to hide behind the screen, and that's okay as long as I was working toward becoming more and more comfortable and safe in my body to show the real me, the all of me, the parts that I don't want people to see, the parts that I'll hide are the parts that need more love, that aren't integrated because I don't feel safe being seen in them. And so to honor those parts of you simultaneously, where you can hold that unconditional love and see what that part needs to feel safe, yet also challenging the story, the narrative, and looking for a different perspective. Look up if you need help. If you feel separate, disconnected, not in oneness, maybe we need time to look in and look up. Call in your support, call in your guides, your angels, whatever that means for you. Take space to be in a safe space, a safe environment. Like cultivate that for you. What is safety for you? It's individual and dependent on the situation and the time and the space and the energy that you hold and another holds simultaneously. Take your power back and create that for yourself. The theme of this month or this time that we're bringing in this message was, it's never, let me feel into this. I have to remember what came through me. Wrong never felt so right. Being wrong never felt so right. And you can just take a minute to sink into that and see what that means for you. Last time we got on a call, it was the only way out is through. And it is. We're still in it. You're walking through an energy right now. If you're tuning into this, you're walking through an energy that you need to walk through in order to come out the other side more authentic, more present, more embodied. Yet sometimes it's hard to walk through it. So now that we are walking through it, the invitation when you're in it is to lean into this idea that what if you're wrong? What if those parts of you that have only experienced fear, only experienced lack of support, judgment, pain, what if it was time to release those fears that are keeping you small, that are keeping you contained, that are keeping you from connecting truly in your authenticity? Those voices that rightfully so, not to minimize the fear and the pain that you've experienced, but to bring them in with love and say, I've got you now. I've got you. And that this story that we're playing in our head from our past, it's just not true anymore. That fear that you will be abandoned when you speak your truth, the fear that you aren't worthy to be loved unless you're perfect or your peers see you as being what they need you to be. There's this peer pressure that's purging right now. And being able to stand in your own authentic expression that the world needs, even if it means it makes someone else uncomfortable based on their own programming, to challenge that part of you while also giving that part of you so much love. It's a nurturing masculine energy right now that's birthing. We're actually going through what I'm perceiving as a healing of masculine energy, of going from a controlling, dominating, oppressing, fearful masculine energy, which masculine can be technology, it can be the universe at play, the nothingness of creation before it comes into form, the thoughts that are coming in that want to become form, the mind, the nervous system, governmental systems. Those are some forms of masculinity, and then it's within us as well. So when you get into your body, it's your mind and your nervous system. So we're maturing to a nurturing, present, loving father energy, you may, within us and outside of us. And right now, depending when you tune into this, it might be expressing in the shadowy stage of the governmental systems, educational systems. Things are surfacing that we are not okay with, so that we can look inward and say, where am I oppressing myself? Where am I controlling myself? Where am I controlling my outside world because I don't feel safe and I need someone to do something differently to make me feel better? Wait, how do I nurture myself how do I lovingly express boundaries? How do I lean into discernment versus judgment? Discernment is about me and what feels good to me based on what I'm experiencing. Judgment is about others. If I am projecting or placing blame or guilt or shame or anything outside of me on others, it's a diversion of self. And I'm judging, I'm not discerning, where I can quickly shift that energy by saying, wait, what am I feeling? What's making me uncomfortable? Why don't I feel safe in this moment to even look inward, to look at where I'm blaming myself and shaming myself and judging myself because the pain is too deep that I feel more safe looking outside of me.
Hey, Bren.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled a card and actually was pulling it for me. But it seems to resonate kind of with what you just said. And, I don't always do cards as far as like how they're read in a traditional setting. But Tempest came up, and I just wanted to read, if she'll let me, a portion of what it said. Temperance. Let me bring it up close to the camera. So, portrays a woman, she stands with one foot in a clear stream and the other on dry land. Alongside the stream bed grow purple irises. Behind her, the sky stretches into a rainbow. In the hand, she holds two cups. One is golden, one silver, and she pours from one to the other. And the rainbow is the promise of renewal of relationship. And I'm seeing like between heaven and earth, masculine, feminine. The gold and silver cup reflects the sun and the moon, the masculine, the feminine, the conscious, the unconscious, joined with the feeling of flow, right? The polarity between the water and the earth on which she stands reflects the capacity to unite opposites within the individual. And to me, that's kind of like the masculine changing from that structure, from government, from technology, and then embracing and supporting the water, the flow, the feminine, the moon in this balancing. I'm filling one cup and I'm filling the other, and we're both in abundance and fulfillment. And then now we walk forward into a balanced place and we become more.
Yeah, and what that brought up for me too is that, again, that masculine healing and awakening we're going through of that, that's that going from just that separate self, ego, focus driven agendas to true conscious awareness and presence. So it's being able to know yourself, your separate self that's appearing separate, while also staying connected to the universal self, the source that you come from and that you are, and not getting so disconnected and entangled and leaning so far into this ego version of self that feels like it has to protect itself. It knows the bigger picture, the source it comes from, and it's a state of consciousness. It really is, where we're waking up to higher perspectives, alternative perspectives, to be able to take in our reality in a different way that doesn't trigger the ego state that says, I need to protect myself. It doesn't trigger the reptilian brain fight or flight unless necessary. And even when it does, like I've been watching my own, where I observe and the parts that I play that need to come through as I walk through my own of, whoa, what am I playing right now in this game of separation? And I can observe it, and then my masculine can come and listen to my feminine body when she's purging or trying to share something that she hasn't been able to share all her life, or her fears or whatever that may be. My body is speaking, emotions are moving. My masculine now can observe instead of run away and dissociate and go to coping mechanisms. And then it can come and articulate. So you can ask your masculine within you to step it up and hear the feminine wisdom, hear and feel and hold the emotions moving through with no fixing or changing, and then asking what you need. And once you get that clarity, advocating for yourself. Your masculine can lovingly advocate through boundaries within you. Sometimes it's boundaries against those thoughts. And then it's also boundaries with others, where you might see a relationship or a pattern that keeps circling that's no longer serving you. And then now, instead of leaning into those ideas that say, if I were to own how I feel and speak my truth and claim my space that I need for my own well-being, that I will lose these people, or that they'll see me as bad or wrong. What if wrong was never so right? All those times that you were judged, demonized, hurt, reprimanded, controlled for being wrong, different, um, whatever it was, someone didn't have the capacity for you in your fullness and it was deemed as wrong. The invitation is that that's just not true anymore. And what if that rebel side of you, that the systems, the structures, the caregivers shut down, right? What if that rebel side of you was no longer the wrong path, but so right to be here as a challenger? And that's a healthy masculine, as a challenger. That is where we transcend the persecutor. Again, the ego will come and persecute because it doesn't feel safe, or control the people, control the parts. Your own inner governance. You don't like the government system? Here's one for you. Check your governance within yourself. If you feel like you don't have any power, we're here to remind you that you do. Work on your inner world. As within, so without. What do you see outside of you that is making you so angry? So angry that then you turn on your fellow people and humans, and we dehumanize each other. Where are you dehumanizing yourself? Where are you controlling yourself? Take your power back. And I tell you, if you see it outside of you and it's lighting you up, it can very likely be playing inside of you very much. I've found many parts where I was controlling my voice and suppressing it because a part of me didn't feel safe. And I was playing out a controlling masculine, oppressing masculine that I experienced in my life. And it was as if that was the only version of the masculine I'd ever been exposed to. So it was hard to imagine something different. But I'm inviting you to try to say, well, what if what I think is wrong to say right here, or wrong to be, if I'm discerning and I know myself, what if it's so right? What if being wrong about the future, when you lean into fear or old patterns,
I
what
like
if it was
that
wrong?
point.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
liked the
Yeah,
point.
please.
I'm sorry. I liked the point that and that's a good reminder to me of like what we're seeing in the news and politically. Okay, so what is that pinging in me that I am internally doing and bringing? And how do I want that to shift, right? What am I focusing on? What am I then calling? And then is that really what I want? So it's that good choice point again to look at where you're at and why you're singing this and why it's pinging you. And then decide where you want to go with that, because maybe that's something that you need to work on. Maybe that's something that you're challenging those old foundations, right? to find out what's truth and what's not again within you. What do you believe, and who are you, and is that actually serving, or if you're cycling again. Anyway, I thought, oh wow, yeah, look, Marsha, ping at that, and you need to go do some reflecting and looking on that to see why this is pinging you so much and why you are looking for that news. Yeah, and look what's behind it. So I don't know if that made sense
Drop
to
the
you,
mat.
because I was like, two things. So I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, that really pinged me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Absolutely. And it's simply an invitation. Your outside world will come and what comes alive for you. And you can, again, this is the opportunity to, not through shame, not through guilt, watch for those. Watch for those and just hold them with love, because you'll find them. When you start to see versions of you that you can't stand outside of you, that's where you need more love. And there's a walking through it that can happen where you just got to be with those feelings and hold them in so much love and say, I get it. I get why you're angry about this, and I'm holding you. What do you need? Or simply just be in it and feel it to the depth so that you can get to the root. As Marsha pointed to, we're building new foundations, but sometimes we don't even know what those new foundations could look like because we've never experienced it. So it's very hard for the mind to envision something else. So no bypassing here in positivity. It's actually, can you be with what's alive for you no matter what it is? It's great to look for joy. It absolutely is. However, we can bypass our pain and it just stays in our body and plays repeat, and then it'll come around again and again. And also, that's perfect because sometimes we're just not ready. Our body, mentally, emotionally, physically, is not ready, and the right tools will come in. However, if you're finding us, what I've found is that usually people will find us and resonate with us. If this is resonating, you are ready and you're strong enough. Whatever doubt you have, whoever this is for, you are strong enough. You actually already have the tools. You're ready to go to the root of the pattern and reprogram it to build something new, to step into a new embodiment, a new life, a new chapter, a new reality from the inside out. And you're ready to walk through your darkness and your shadows to love all of you, to be whole. The more that we can love those parts of us, because we hold it all. We are the world. You are the universe. Everything you see outside of you is inside of you. Where are you at war with yourself? Where are you at war with someone outside of you? Where do you get sucked into victim, perpetrator, and you're waiting for a hero outside of you? You're waiting for some divine savior. You are it. You are it. And it's great when you feel separate and you're in that. Call in your angels, call in your support, call in your people. That's all perfect too. Just know what I'm pointing to is bring awareness to what you're playing. If the victim is alive in you, honor it and say, woo, there's a part of me right now that feels really oppressed or feels really sad or feels really this. Give it a voice in a healthy way. Find someone that you can speak to. And if you don't have anyone and you resonate with us, come talk to us. We do this kind of a reading on a one-on-one basis, and we hold space for the shadow sides and all the pain to transmute with you and to point to your power to start to take it back. So, um, yeah, it's simply an invitation for a different perspective and to step out of suffering and this belief that you are so separate, or what's the word? Let me feel into it. Doomsday. I don't know why that wants to come through. It's the doomsday feeling. It's the end of the world. It's very chaotic right now. And yes, and you can see this as it's with a death, there's simultaneously a birth happening. It happens at the exact same time. So can you lean into surrendering to the death process and knowing that you're actually birthing at the same time. Take that anxiety that you feel in your stomach that is scared to transcend, that's scared to let go of all that you knew and all of your beliefs and who you thought you were, the relationships you thought you needed. If you can take that anxiety in the stomach, which is your personal power center, and see that as actually excitement for a brand new version of you, a brand new earth, a brand new reality that you are ready to experience with new roots in love and joy and presence and wholeness. You can take this time to simply be, put all your awareness right now with your power center. Maybe place your hands right on your stomach, upper stomach. Usually right, you'll know if your anxiety is sitting in your upper stomach, it's right at the ledge. It's your edge of feeling fearful of the future to excited for the future because it bridges the heart right there. You're about to break through your fears and bust open your heart and unite the heaven and the earth in your heart space. That's where they connect. And there's been some barrier there between our personal power and our individual expression and the expression as the divine. And that comes through that bridge, the masculine and feminine. And then those come together, the earth and the heavens in the heart space. And that there is where we birth the inner child, the Christ consciousness, the unconditional love, compassion, and grace for everything. So seeing if you can lean into bringing that personal power and that expression and your true essence up into that heart space to meet with your spirit self and see what you want to birth from the heart.
Awesome. And it's interesting because before you started that, and it is a death, right? And it's a cycle, right? We are always in cycling, we're looping, and I believe we spiral, right? As we ascend to be our higher selves, to be the best that we can be. And so when we complete, we go up or down, whichever way you're working. But so in here in this tree, right? And it's a tree without leaves, and yet there's a hand coming up that's got some pinks and yellows in it. And then there was a word stone that came up that was hope and letting go, right? Letting go of the dead branches, letting go of the things that don't serve you, letting go of preconceived ideas that are not true to you anymore, right? So it's going back to those choice points and your foundations. And then bringing in ancestors, new knowledge, new teachers. It's kind of an angelic figure kind of flying in. So, right, new opening and awareness. But here is the transition. There's the woman in the tree, old woman, young woman. So, death cycle, beginning cycle, one eye's closed and rest, one eye's open in a new engagement. Very much in that shadows with the purples and the blues and the blacks and the browns. So it's that transition point, which started drawing before you started talking. So I always love when that stuff happens.
I do too.
So, and then these came up earlier when you were talking. So these are a dream card. And we usually do, after it's done, I'll do a full read on what came out today. This one was the kiss and the arrow. And on that, there's kind of like cherub figures here on the top of this one card. But the kiss is that exchange of spiritual union. It is of showing respect, right? It's a joining of brotherhood. Say friends and family you haven't seen in a long time, you give them a hug or a kiss on the cheek, right? It's that acknowledgement and that exchange from a spiritual to a physical type plane. So again, coming in balance and connection with that. And then at the end, it says, like in fairy tales, a kiss that awakens someone from a death-like sleep. So again, it's you and that awakeness and that passing from when you're transitioning, right? From who you are now or the beliefs you have now into what's new and birthing and the new coming. And then the arrow, right, is becoming, taking a moment and pausing. What is your goal? What are you aiming at, right? And giving true thought in that, and making the decision, right? Making the decision in that transition, right? Am I going to stay here? And is this death a bad thing, or is this death a reawakening into something new? So it's taking those time to pause, right? Yeah, you love that pause method, stop and pause. And then with decision choice, right? Which is me, all about choice points, making that choice and then aiming for the goal that you're actually going to. It's like when we come back and we look at this, what are we actually calling in? What are we actually putting out and putting our intent, like the quartz, right? Focusing intent on what we want. So then we progress forward. So I thought those were kind of interesting too.
Yeah, that's so fitting, right? It just points to if you were to kiss yourself, right? If you were to love yourself, every aspect of you, what would you do? What would you be
Mhm.
doing if you were totally consumed with self-love? That's a great practice to figure out your authentic self is imagine a time no one needs you and you don't need anything else. You're so fulfilled. Your cup is full. Now, what do you do?
Mhm.
What do you do when you're so full? And that can start to point you to some of those answers of like, well, what do I really want to do that isn't built in those systems of pleasing others or your expectations of self. You can just play around with it, have some fun. No one needs you, and you don't need anything. And you're sitting there. What moves you? What would bring you joy in this moment? That's how I figured out that I was a medicine woman, a self care practitioner, a consciousness critic, because I do this stuff whether someone wants to listen or do it with me or not. Like, it doesn't matter who's around me. Like, this is my most true expression. And then why I do this is because it's fun, because, of course, you want to be part of human nature is seen in your truth. Like, that is what I love to also do is to give others what what better gift of love and service can you give someone if you were to love their authentic expression? And not this fixed authentic expression either. This is divine is fluid, right? If something that's alive for them in the moment right now is some past narrative or some pain that wants presence and love, can you love that version? Can you give them so much compassion and love? Now, one caveat, of course, boundaries, healthy boundaries. Can you love someone else without harming yourself? Can you care for someone else without harming yourself? Can you care for yourself without harming others? Love is always there. Love is always there. It's just a redirection and an honoring of boundaries and self care and care of others. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's good because I saw that and that's awesome. I can love you where you're at now, right? And give you compassion in what you're experiencing. But if you're just cycling to get that attention and care from me and actually taking, um, then that is not serving you and it's not serving me. And sometimes the best thing I can do in love for you is walk away. It doesn't mean that I don't respect where you're at or what you're going through. But that is not my path to stand here and keep giving you. So you keep giving that and then feeling that I don't know, serotonin increase. So you're feeling good because you're wallowing in this and I'm giving you compassion for that. So you're taking that energy in. But you're actually not healing anything. You're not moving forward. And if you want to stay there, that's great, but that's not me. So that is not why I'm here, and that's not what I enjoy or what I do. So again, I may point out there is a choice for you, and your decision is what you want to do with that. But I'm not here just to energize you, because I need to be energized as well so that I can be at my highest and fullest. Um, So yeah, interesting because I've got copper here, which is a battery and energizer, right? So that's being energized. And I'll go over the stones and stuff at the later. But we've got the blue, we've got the quartz clearing and focusing. We have self-love, love, and celestial energy going up to a very dark amethyst, right? That spirituality, that higher self. And in the balance of this release of letting go and hope, we have wellness when we're in balance. Um, just to point out to another thing, we had this heart, and that kind of came up before you start talking about it. And it's got all these different colors in it. It's loving all those parts, all those people at play, and the frog. And I'm like, why is this toad here? And then I was like, oh, look, you got to kiss a lot of toads. Sometimes they get a prince, but that is your own personal power, right? And I love that honoring and giving yourself that highest love because it talked about the kiss is honoring that person, right? Connecting in unity with that person and showing respect and honor. And we are incredibly powerful and we give it away or we don't think that we have it. And in that belief, we let it die, bury it. But we are all powerful in our world, as God is all omniscient and in with us, right? So within, so without.
Yeah, and that's so fitting. The final little note before you all receive a kiss from the universe for me is the wellness piece over there that's kind of standing alone. It points to this too. If you are struggling with dis-ease, cancer specifically, and some others that there are messengers that we're in martyrdom, that we're over giving, and this ease will slow us down and make us receive the care that we give everybody else. So please know that you deserve the same love and care that you give outwardly. And it's time maybe to receive. If you are not feeling well, if you do not feel like your cup is full, it's your clear indicator to turn your love and caring nature inward. Give yourself your own medicine. Get out of the loop of martyrdom. You deserve wellness. You do. And you can advocate for yourself with that boundary. And the sooner that you do it and listen to that, then the sooner the ailments will heal, the disease will soften because it's just speaking to you. But when we don't listen, the body's last ditch effort is a physical expression, a manifestation of a dis-ease. You are in dis-ease. Find your ease, find your flow, receive support, open your heart up. I know maybe what you've received in the past was painful and it wasn't safe to be supported, but let's challenge that. What if that's wrong now? What if it's not true anymore? What if you have grown to where that is safe? It's
Going back
never
and
felt
looking at
so good being wrong, right? Never felt so good to be
exactly.
wrong.
Going back to those foundational beliefs and looking at them and deciding if they're still your truths or if they're somebody else's truths. What the experiences was, right? Do you want to continue living in that experience or do you see it for what it was? And right, let it die and let the new growth come out from that and staying in wellness and balance. Absolutely, absolutely. All our choices.
Yay. All right. And then a final thing that I'll do, because I love the kiss
Huh?
from the universe side and our conversation, is I'm going to bring forth from the sky and the heavens above whatever wants to come through as a channeled message for you to help you transmute this. So that's what something else that's authentic to me that I tend to hide in is part of my channeling is to open up to the universal language of creation. That is the source we all come from, whatever resonates for you of what that means for you. And I give it a voice. So I open up and I let it come out and it does its work with you to move energy, to give you a message, to whatever it is. Because I can't tell you what it is because I don't know because it's spontaneous. Yet that's going to be my kiss to you to wrap up this call. I'll do a little bit of a channeled message for you, whoever's listening at whatever time. Tuakana tatea a akae su tuanaha akayana tea usu tuananaha Wana kate ea asunu tutu nene atina aha watakana eisesea hotono ku hanatana sene titia oana ha hanatea tuku anata asatutu nutu kuana tanene aha ha poso utu kuaha yana tu tuana hasane kutu tu hu hata sakututu nu yana ha ye usu tu kunu tu tu na Hana te se nene te a kai so there's some it's a much higher frequency that wants to root in through you through joy and play. Suana ta haya kutu tu kunu ana hasete te a hakai tunu ana na ha ukua satana hana te a kaya tutu suhu ana na ha ha tutu anesa kana te a ha tunu hu utu ku a ha tu Tunu hua haia tatetea seka tutua ha akai tunu su tu hua ha hana haki tutu sunu tu ana haia tate. This is very playful, very playful energy. Tiganana tataya ha kuku tu tu atata to not take life so seriously. Haka tutu tu sunu ha hakina tatea akutu tu hana tatea. It's time to open your eye Utu tu 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 nikata te tu tu su kuha lean into surprise. Let the universe surprise you. Su atakane te akata su tu no hata ke tu. Many of us are very serious, too serious. Too serious. We forgot how to play. Huku and atate akake situtu ana ha ataku ana hatate akata situtu anu takua haka hatate siti kutunu hua akaya teka tutu hutu. I want you to let it go, let it all go and lean into to play. Lean into play. Let the universe support you, surprise you, play with you. Don't forget you're playing. Sutua na kata tetea a kotututua atenente e sututua na it's time to play something new, play something different. Tu na kata ta kotutusua na ta te a kata tenu sutu hutu kua na ta ha akatente nene hutu tutu hutu kua na nene te hutu kutu nu kua ta na hakeke a se tete ta na a atatene tutu kuko aka. Oh, they're really talkative. Tukutu sana tatetea a e ku su tutu hu watanana tatakaya sitetea utu yatakanata sutu hutu kuaha. They just really want to bring this in. So whatever this brings up for you, that is for you. I'm grateful for that playful full energy. It was new for me as well. I've not tuned into that one before, but they really want you to listen and to invite that into your body and to root in more play, surprise, fun, childlike energy in that heart space and they're ready. The universe is ready to surprise you with things you've never even seen or thought or heard of. Like, stop thinking, start seeing and receiving, and just let your mind be blown. Yeah. Fun one.
Likes that. Good messaging.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you for that, Kiss.
Yeah. Kiss from the universe.
All right.
Feels good.
Just finishing in some things around the frog and stuff while you went. Yeah, feels good. Awesomeness.
Beautiful. Well, again, if you guys want your own personal message, that's what we do. There'll be a link in the description. I also do a monthly wellness call, free call. If you feel my vibe, I bring this craziness and these different perspectives into the wellness world. So it's tasty tools to love yourself, love your food. I'll have that link in the description. And Marsha also finishes her beautiful art here as a full art piece and does a video message, and that's available as well. If you feel called to go deeper into any of this messaging, she will bring that forth in her art. And yeah, I think that's it. Until next time, and whatever energy and perspective wants to come to you from us, we send you love.